gonna be real. Let's go. Game one. It is time, baby. Sundown. It's gonna happen. We're gonna finally get to see who's gonna put that exclamation point to the start of the FNCS trios. And we know the hot starts could kind of catapult you on top of the boards and give you that confidence. Let's take a look at the map here. I'm looking for contestants. I'm looking for anyone that's gonna start rambling early, and already and looking all calm right now. I don't see kind of any arrows altogether here, Sundown.
Yeah, just trying to look around the map. It actually looks like we have two teams sitting on top of Doom. So right away in my head, BLS, Benji, Lecce, Savage going to be contested over there. But we're going to hop on board right away. Smash Dave, you might know him better as Rojo, the World Cup duos runner-up with Wolfies. Bobo, the player for Exalti. And then SB Nate, a.k.a. the Clutch Factors, team number 33. And we talked about it. We actually kind of thought that the 33rd place team, that wildcard place team, would almost be guaranteed to be contested, but finding a little bit of free real estate over here, slapping the top of that bad boy and getting all of Fortuna to themselves.
And hopefully that bad boy could fit a lot of points to get them on the leaderboard, to get them the confidence. These are the beginning moments. There's a lot of butterflies in our competitors' bellies, and this is the most exciting part. Like, who's going to be able to convert that nervous energy into extreme confidence? And already the big names, the who's in the zoo, just to give a shout out to my boy Fallout, are all here. They all competed. They all went through the trials and tribulations of qualifiers. They all sweated it out in the heats. But now the ultimate sweat is right now that's going to happen is in grand finals. And I'm talking about the cream of the crop are here. The elite trios are competing in the EU region. And the question is, who is going to be the top? And this is my pick. Mongrel, Mitro, and Tayson, the ability to pop off, the double factor of having an uncontested start. Now, granted, Jazzpace Trio is here as well, and Jazzpace Trio did kind of dip their toe into this deadly murky water of Mongrel, Mitro, and Tayson, and they paid the price. They got bounced on out, and that's why I feel already, look, they got some points here already, man.
I mean, you can see that just the score coming over for them there, but I think that might just be a little bit of a visual artifact remaining from the last game and not quite being wiped because no eliminations coming through. Again, you did hear the analyst and Zeke talk about it. The first match, there was a little bit of a matchmaking issue, wanting to make sure all of the correct 33 teams were able to play all of their grand finals matches to the best of their ability. Made sure to get that resolved. So we'll be showing you the leaderboards and keeping you on up to date, but as for right now, just keep a hold on those yellow numbers, and it might not be 100% accurate while that gets updated. However, we talked about it, the uncontested drop spot, the mythic POI, and the vault, kind of the only detracting factor from having an uncontested drop spot is having to go find that storm surge. But when you're that capable of a team, you have no problem being able to convert, and we're going to swing from one prediction on over to another. You have the boys who I picked, Nakos and Clement of the Rams, and then Floki being able to come through, and Clement actually being the only player in the entirety of Europe to qualify for every single FNCS final. And then another fun little fact is the winner of Heat 2 for every single FNCS has gone on to be the victor. So a little, like two little bit of statistics coming into favor for this French trio.
Who knows, man? Two coincidences may make a wrong here for Floki's trio. I mean, I agree. They've been very strong. They have a great drop here in Misty Meadows. And what's interesting is all the qualifiers and heats, we've been seeing trios kind of land in different places, right? And this is so cool to see that the Deals team, who's been landing in various places, now is going to go toe-to-toe against Lecce, Mr. Savage, and Benji. And what an opening engagement to this can be. But we saw the deal at the end of this heats run literally be a Grim Reaper and knock on all the trio's doors and took them out effectively. And actually, Lecce, Benji, and Mr. Savage was one of those trios that he took out here in those final rounds of those heats.
And he was trying to see, it's almost like that first prod, you're poking a chink in the armor, you check the shield wall, find out where that weak member is, and then you focus your forces right there. And it seems like Vadil and co have decided, well, you know what? Let's test the mettle of Savage, Benji, and Lecce. Let's see how good they really are. They were battling up here against Aqua, Noah, and Raison time and time again during the qualifiers, but now Vadil, Fastroki trying to put the pressure over the top. They're running through right away. Shots coming over, but not quite necessarily connecting. Getting the cone control in and good pressure. Doors being shut in his face, but hasn't quite heard of that one coming through, and Vadil gets worked right there. You saw him put Mongrel in a blender, but this time he's being served up as a smoothie as they're going to line up the headshots and get as much Storm Surge damage there.
What an unbelievable elim for Savage, Lecce, and Benji. Yes, even the elite need confidence, and that's going to be huge. And the deal went for a bigger bite than he could chew right then and there. And going down so early, considering that momentum, as Shia was talking about, momentum from Heat's looking like it's not carrying over. And Lecce, Savage, and Benji, historically, throughout the qualifiers, throughout every form of this FNCS trio season, they've been historically very, very, very slow starts. And already a strong start with getting 2 elims. So that's 2 points, considering the way the format works. Top 17, we're going to have placement points get doled out. So once we get there, then you're going to see the points kind of rack up there, especially with those bonus points for coming into third, second, and of course, the Victory Royale. But having these early engagements being contested, it seems going to be working out for Benji and Savage and Lecce, because considering in their heats, they had issues with Storm Surge.
Yeah, I'm really wondering kind of what happened to Fastroki there. We didn't see the third elimination get picked up by Benji. Only 2 of them went down, and that was just a full elim onto Kylie as well. So might have got picked off by another member, one of those northern teams. So we're going to hop on board here. Vettel, Playwell, Stir 6, and I drop 7. I mean, some players who have played so consistently well time and time again. They play hip to hip. They look to play on the front side of the zone or rotating around the edge and get ahead as much as possible and just remain in the match. It is very common you see them picking up those top 3s. And again, you just talked about the format. Once you get into the top 3, it's +2, second place +4, and the Victory Royale +5. So 11 total placement points going over those top 3 teams.
We always talk about the consistency. I drop Stir 6 and Vettel are that consistent factor. They don't play above their means. They stick to their textbook. They stick to that playbook so strong. And that is why they were in that top 5 in their heats. And they're very, very, very quiet. No one really kind of focused on them. And they consistently put that output, as we see gets snagged out by Kira right there. Nice start to their day as well. Kira was this trio kind of got their way in from the heats. They kind of slowly crept in. They worked a lot. They held on tight. They didn't slip off of that top 8. So going in for that heats, they're looking to maintain that momentum. And already Kira is having some sort of a success in momentum, picking up 2 elims to start off day 1 here of the grand finals.
Yeah, and they were a team who was just on the outside looking in, going into match 12 yesterday, but we were able to clutch up in the final moments. And Reese and Shio actually showed the one single elimination, the placement point that pushed them over the top and just cleared the tiebreaker, because the team underneath them had a Victory Royale, which meant if they'd gotten 1 more point, they would have owned that tiebreaker. But right now, hopping on board here, Kira, big 89 tag, but can't find the second. We're going to wait for a second here as the server catches up, and Kira going to be able to find the solo that is Steely. He's going to get picked up and finished off there. Now 4 teams have already dropped here in our grand final.
That's so interesting. That is a number 8 in their heat, taking out the number 1 of heat 4. So it's just so showing you a proof in the pudding that EU is just stacked. It is dense. It is thick and skill. And that is what we're going to have here. It's all going to shake out, and we're going to figure out who's going to be the one that take away that axe of champions. And the EU region, you mentioned it, Sundown, vast in population, so the skill levels are going to be so high. And one of these up-and-coming trios, these superstars in the making, someone could argue already a superstar, is Thomas HC, Anas, and Flick.
I would say Thomas in and of himself is 100% a superstar. Everyone knows about his sniper. Everyone is aware of just how strong he is. The recent signing honestly feels like kind of that franchise player over there for Gamma Gaming. Definitely the one who produces the most overall results, and you can see has that weapon of choice in his hands. Again, we saw in qualifier number 1, he was the most clutch player, accounting for nearly 34 points by himself with 2 huge Victory Royales. Anas on the other side of that, also factoring in that round 1 qualifier, and a number of times has had key clutch situations, but Flick is no kind of slouch himself, Sancho.
The question is, can Flick kind of always get those elims, tends to be the first one down. If Flick and that trio is all together, they're dangerous. And now this is a trio that we're all rooting for in a sense. This is the wild card trio. They got in at the very last moment, just about a couple of moments before the grand finals, riding that ultimate high. And right now they have to solve this puzzle piece of Storm Surge. They have 40 below. And that's going to be a scary situation going forward because I believe, Grand Final Sundown, Storm Surge could be a little bit more prevalent considering that a lot of these trios are going to be a little bit closer to the chest. They're not going to be too aggressive. They're not going to take unnecessary fights because they want to get to in-game to rack up maximizing their point output.
Yeah, and it's about finding the early tags when possible, especially there's still 86 players left. But I don't know if you saw that real quick up in the feed. It was a little bit of a flash, but Andelix got a knock onto Tayson. No immediate action after that, but I'm kind of keeping an eye up there to see what else goes on. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Storm Surge, it's present in every single Fortnite lobby, but it only kicks in when there's a certain amount of players left as you get into the next zones, and that's based off of player density. So when you have more than 70 players at the third circle, they start taking that damage.
And absolutely, in the way zones 1 through 4 work is they go centralized. It's a different from pubs from then on out because it no longer does that. In zones 5, that's at half in and half out. 6, 7, 8, and 9 are full rotating zones into the storm, and that is where the craziest happens. And that is where here in the FNCS Trio competitive scene, that is where we've been seeing placement points start getting racked up there in between zones 6 and 7. And to get to that point, it requires so much energy, and you have to have a strong in-game leader to kind of focus the trio. You're gonna have to have max resources in both utility, mats, and power weapons to get to that point. And here is a trio that we've all been watching as well. Matzo, Amplify, and ADN, who do really well in their heats, have a great centralized drop there at the ruins.
And they were one of 2 trios to make every single one of those round 3 qualifiers. It was them and the uncontested Stark Industries trio of Mongo, Mitro, and Tayson. So just showing the kind of prowess of them there. And the key thing is for them, they land at the Authority, now the ruins, and then they sprint. And I mean they sprint over to Risky Reels. And they say, if you're landing there, we're fighting you or we're pushing you out, because they want all the resources from both of those POIs.
I got to give a shout out to Clay Staling, a caster of the FNCS. He said that their communications is so funny. They're so jumbled up, but for some reason, that bonkers communications puts them on the same page and nets them an elim there on Cartoon's Wave. So that's going to be another elim going forward, starting them up, and now here they go. Legend gets eliminated. That's a second point here. We're about 10 placements away from placement points being doled out, but already you're seeing Hen go down, and I believe Deceptos went down as well. So many big names are colliding, and and Stursix colliding. I dropped 7 collides with Thomas HC, and Thomas HC overcomes that. And remember, they're all kind of parked up on this mountain. We took a peek at the minimap, and the minimap showed that this is going to be a zone that's going to favor anyone that kind of lines on dirty docks. And that's why Thomas and Nas and Fleck are already kind of setting up here, as we see Lechi, Savage, and Benji trucking it up right now.
Trucking it up, good old Southern Boy style, right along the outside. Don't forget, you can build with that on there, but you are exposed on the backside of the truck. And Lechi not necessarily known for being the tunneler within this group, so him being the one exposed in the back and largely responsible for the building makes it a little more difficult. You can feel that Storm Surge pressure coming as these teams are now going to Billy Goat up on the side. They're going to use the Chug Splashes. Still 2 players who are under threat of that Storm Surge. And right now you can see in the EU Grand Finals, 18 World Cup participants, 3 FNCS champions, and 4 DreamHack winners. So this is loaded. You talked about it. Hey, it's big name on big name in the Elim feed. Well, that's all it's going to be, Sancho. That's all it's going to be, all 12 games. So we get the best of the best in Europe going up against it in the trios game mode. And this is match number 1 of 5. We're heading into now kind of the mid-game transition circle. I consider zones 3, 4, and maybe the start of 5, right? Kind of that mid-game situation where it's all about positioning, tags, and whether or not you can take advantage of your opponent's mistakes.
Right now, Savage, Lechi, and Benji are going to try to take advantage of Doom's Arcane Gauntlets. That's going to give Benji unlimited resources and firepower and the ability to glide on down off of height if need be. Now, for the first time in these kinds of zones here out in the coast of Dirty Docks. A lot of the players and the in-game leaders, nice pick right there from Menji, are going to prioritize this mountaintop, considering that the elevation down to the coastline just slopes all the way down. So, yes, center is usually a key factor here, but in this kind of zone, you're going to want to hold on to this height as much as possible, because making your way up, Billy goading your way up is going to exhaust so many resources, and considering that the beams coming from up top will have that headshot multiplier, dangerous situation to be. So yes, everybody usually wants to live by the coast, have a beach, awesome condos and whatnot, but no, you want to be on the mountaintop looking down on those beach players.
You can see Thomas picking up another elimination up there in the feed, but right now you can see Benji and Co. They're trying to set up for some form of crash pad play or drop down. You can see him looking to see what tiles they own. You have Matzo, Amplify, Centric ADN just above him, the Train Hard duo, rounding it out there, getting whatever space he can. But the question is, Kinzel and Co., the two-time DreamHack winner and back-to-back, they're currently the ones sitting, they're sitting just below priority position. It's Flick, Anas, and Thomas HD. That mountaintop they're on right there, that's on the edge of the fourth zone. Fifth zone indicates where the half in, half out is, but if they're the ones who own that space, they have priority over the entirety of the lobby. It is going to be their shooting gallery, and with Thomas's sniper, that's incredibly threatening.
And take a look here as everybody is positioned already set to go. All over the remnants of the grotto, it's still flooded, but Anas, Thomas HD, and Flick have a really strong position underneath them. They actually was able to get Wolfie's knock. Wolfie's now back on his feet. Wolfie's, Kinzel, and CRR, the superstar trio who've been kind of molding together, concreting their chemistry in front of our eyes during the qualifiers, and especially did really well during heats. But a trio that's been really awesome on a meteoric rise is Thomas HD, Anas, and Flick with prime positioning. And we're going to take a look here in about 50 seconds. The zone will reveal for that half in and half out. So essentially, it's going to pick somebody around that trio that favor that. But the good thing is, Sundown, they have that high priority, that one shockwave, one crash pad, one bounce, one strong rotation will give them that ability to control height once again.
And because of the natural elevation of the mountain too, they don't have to invest too many of their hard mats to really maintain kind of a safe distance away here, but we're hopping on board with the French trio here, the Rams duo plus Floki. My prediction, the 6th-time FNCS final qualifier, Clement, they won heat number 2 as well with an astounding score, trouncing everyone else in it. But right now, looking for a little bit of space because they're only 16 above that Storm Surge. Again, this is the 5th zone, so 2nd-tier Storm Surge. The number you care about is that top left-hand corner. We need to see 50 players remaining before it turns off. Otherwise, 25 damage every 10 seconds to the most passive team. That's the one who has done the least amount of damage to the opponents to encourage some action, as we see plenty of action here.
Nakos, Clement, and Floki during the qualifiers got a lot of elims. They're averaging 5. They could input a lot of damage into the lobby, and they get an elim, a knock right then and there, and a confirmation. 1 point, then another beams. This triple beam kind of strategy is so strong, and look, it favors the people on the mountain. Zone 5 is pulled, so Thomas, Anas, and Flick are sitting pretty. Now, all the people who are down below are in danger, so we're going to keep an eye on all those people making those rotations.
Ooh. Oh, you saw him trying to line up the snipe in between. We talk about the angles and the box-to-box fighting and how Weapon can see the heads going right through, but just missing that. And you talked about the zone pulling over to the side. I would be shocked if Thomas and Co. now, they are 100% the favorites to win this game. You can see others just even using utility to get up near them. However, CRR, Kinzel, and Wolfies just below them on 2nd priority for height, so a shooting gallery for them as well.
And here we go. We're getting closer and closer, as Sundown said, into the end game. We're about the closing moments of mid-game action right now. And this is so scary if you're an in-game leader for all those trios. You're just seeing that shooting gallery as Kinzel picks up a knock right there. It's so difficult. Yes, we've been talking about the low ground and its prowess. The Savage gets confirmed. We've been talking about the prowess of low ground. But when Old Man Mountain shows up, that change in elevation, those natural terrain that kind of works as a concrete roadblock, you have no other option to go up. And when you go up, you walk into the arms and into the beams of trios like Kinzel and Flick's trio. Such a dangerous, and look at it. Look at the madness and the chaos down below.
and ADN getting cleaned up and down there. They're out, and they're also out in 18th, which signals the horn for the placement points to start coming through. If your trio outlasts another one, everyone receiving 1 point there, but you start to see those points rack up. And look at where the zone pulled. We're going back up over the top of the mountain. That gives so much power to Thomas HD and Co. However, right now we see edge of zone. We're on board with another Gamma Gaming player, Kami, here with Artur and Raxo, getting plenty of shots in, currently sitting on 1 elimination thanks to Artur, but Storm Surge not going to come and play anymore, as Old Man Mountain will take care of that. He's going to thin out more than 7 players here as the rotation is on, and you see these guys getting a good layer around the outside.
And this is the moments here. This match could wrap up quickly, so we'll keep an eye as the feed is lighting up with big names going down. All confirmation, all knocks, points are being rewarded. And look at it. This is that crazy rotation that everyone is making, trying to avoid the mountain. You're going to see everybody use tarps, mobility, anything they can survive. And it is up to Mongrel to survive. The lone remaining trio member here. He could do it. We've seen the pop-ups happen. And that is what we're talking about. The Lone Rangers of the EU, and bang, Rojo gets bopped right there from Mongrel. Mongrel, this is all he needs. It's a couple of elims, and before you know it, he is on fire.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition, but you should expect Mongrel flying through the sky with a pump. We've seen highlight reel after highlight reel of the young Englishman doing it, but don't forget, up on the high ground, all the utility. Thomas is way up there. He's out past contention range, double tarping as you see the shockwaves come through, but Thomas and Flick are just providing support for Anas. A second shockwave goes up, and that's Benji getting beamed out of the sky by Flick as we swing down onto the low ground. It's Andalix and Duck on top, aka X Squeeze. He's in their top right-hand corner. Wolfies, Kinzel, and CRR there in your bottom right. And then you can see on the wide, you still have Thomas HD, Flick, and Anas controlling from the high ground as they're now going to swap roles and drop down a little bit.
And here we go. It is high versus low that's going to happen. We're seeing there, Nas, Thomas, and Flick are sitting pretty, and the chaos in the mud down below. It is X-Weeze, the Lone Ranger. Wolfies, CRR, and Kinzel are standing tall and all working as a trio. There goes the contention from height from Teak. Oh no, Teak, take it. Thomas HC now does not have height. Teak is sitting up there. That is the danger. So now we have a battle for height exploding up top. Down below, Wolfies is using the clay special, looking for any kind of angles. At the main ground, X-Weeze up top, exchanging some blows. X-Weeze is really low for the moment with no shield. Sundown.
And you can see they're getting forced out, trying to find a little bit of room, but right now, the box-to-box trio in your bottom right-hand corner, finding an elimination, the key one, that'll be there first, but a refresher as we have 14 players remaining, but still 7 trios on their feet, racking up the placement points. You still have Floki on the low ground as well. Mongrel still keeping himself in it, getting a point after point right now, but up on the high ground still. Thomas HD, Flick, Anas, no pressure, no worries, but nobody will be there in a hurry as they are just raining the shots from above. Floki and Clement trying to find a little bit of room, but the zone is moving back over. The height will be able to run it out, but what's happening on the low ground here as Wolfies has now turned from 0 elims to 3 in the blink of an eye, and you're seeing the shockwaves come out. They're going to prepare for a take.
It is the 9th zone, the ultimate closing time. The solo box fighters, the solo superstars are now going to go up against one of the strongest trios in the EU who have already split. Thomas HC is high. There it is. There it is. The shockwave. CRR, Wolfies, and Kinzel have it. And down goes Thomas HD. What an unbelievable play and the right timing of using the shockwaves. Now it's up to CRR, Wolfies, and Kinzel to put that statement. Exclamation point here on the Victory Royale. The superstars coming all together, concreting the chemistry. The trio is real. It is a 2-trio competition. Wolfies is going to go in to sit on the storm. Wolfies is eating out, but it doesn't matter because Kinzel is doing well. Flick goes down. There goes the confirmation. Wolfies, Kinzel, CR. Can they do it as this goes up elevation? Down goes Wolfie. Anas is still up. Anas is still up. Can Anas hold on? No! It is Kinzel, Wolfie, CRR coming together for the first Victory Royale in the grand finals.
That's match number 1 going that way with a well-timed shockwave execution. They unthrown Thomas HD from his seat up top, but we've seen it time and time again in the final moments while they're clutch in the matches you feel they shouldn't win. It seems